What's up, everybody? Welcome to Victory Sunday with the Canes Inside Podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Awesome day, awesome vibes for the University of Miami as they completely just annihilate, pulverize the NC State Wolfpack 41-7. It really wasn't even as close as that score. It was pretty violent. Just looking at the team stats, one total yards to 143. NC State, a team with two backs that were averaging over 6 yards a carry, both healthy for this game, only rushed for 23 yards, 1.2 yards per rush. So again, another team held under 150 yards. This defense is one of the absolute best in the country. They'll rank in the top 10 in pretty much most of the relevant categories after this one. But even then, I think that's underselling them. Ohio State, they deserve to claim the best defense in the country right now. They haven't really played a lot of great teams, but you got to give it to them. But this Miami defense is absolutely at the top of college football, which is amazing thinking about where they were last year. What a job by Coach Heatherman and the squad. It's an exciting game, man. I'll get to it. By the way, shout out to Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Anajar and Levine. Who we got here? Salty Ran got the eyeballs up. Yeah, man. Early morning one. 7:59 as we record. Got to run this Sunday as usual, so I wanted to get this one in. Trey Kendricks, what's up, man? He says, does the Alabama loss mess up our at-large bids? It wasn't great. I mean, look, aside from Texas losing, the other games weren't great for Miami, but at the end of the day, the football gods will reward good performance. Keep playing like this, and they'll be happy Hurricane fans one way or the other. So just keep on playing. But yeah, my big picture takeaway from this game, as you just go down the line of things that stood out. Obviously, the defensive performance was absolutely ridiculous, as I alluded to on top. Let's start with the class of 2025. Okay, this recruiting class was the lowest ranked, really, of the crystal ball era. I guess you count the transition class, which was 15th, but when you look at the full recruiting classes, this was the lowest ranked class outside the top 10. But you look at the hit rate on these guys with your best recruit, the 5-star Hayden Lowe, out for the year, should be fine, but didn't participate this year. You look at the guys that played and how well they're playing. Starting with Malachi Toney, one of the stars of college football. There's not much we can get to there. One day he's punt returning at an elite level. Another day he's receiving at an elite level, both short, intermediate, and then deep as well. Running screens, you name it. And then you see the arm, right, with the throw to JoJo Trader. Almost had another one to Pringle. That was a great play call. But we know that's a weapon with him. Not only does he have the great arm and the great passing ability, of course, the threat to run, but he's an excellent decision maker. This is what a guy who is a true quarterback, one of the smartest players on the team. So you trust, even as a true freshman, you trust him with the ball. So just another amazing day for the star of college football, one of the stars of college football, star of the Canes, Malachi Toney. I can't stress enough. You go walk around that stadium. I saw groups of youth football players screaming into one of these camera phones how much they love Malachi Toney. You saw the Gabo signs. I know my son's friends, they went straight from flag football practice trying to be Malachi Toney to trying to be Malachi Toney in the parking lot and then watching the game. So this is a star of college football. We got him for 3 years. So start there with the class of 2025. Then in the last two games, who's been the breakout performer? Gerard Pringle, running back out of Tampa. Can't say enough about what he did yesterday. 17 carries, 116 yards, 6.8 yards a carry, only 23 at his long run. And I say only because he's an inch away from breaking a 60, 50, 70-yarder. He has that kind of speed, 10-6 type guy in the 100 meters. So only a matter of time before he breaks a long run. But I think what stands out about Pringle is if you watched him in high school at Sefner Armwood, he was not a change of pace back. This was an every down back. This was a guy that got a lot of carries, over 30 plus in some games, very physical between the tackles despite being a smaller back, and then really hits the hole with tremendous decisiveness. He is a one cut and go back. He has moves if he needs to in the open field, but he is not a dancer. There's a lot of guys you could say that size, and that style could work against some teams, but because they dance too much, it's going to struggle against faster defenses. This guy gets upfield in a hurry. I think his style of running will be effective over the long haul. And of course, those big plays are on the horizon. He has completely revitalized a running game that was in need of juice. You just lost Mark Fletcher, who was really your only top performing back on the season. He comes in and adds life to a running game that came into the game 80th in the 80s. I apologize, in yards per rush. Pringle juicing that stat up with, again, nothing spectacular from a long run perspective. It was 6.8 yards a carry. It felt like it got 6.8 every time. I mean, it was chunk after chunk after chunk. Also effective in the receiving game. And really the only knock you would say on Pringle or concern, obviously durability. You don't want to overuse him. Marty Brown did a phenomenal job being that Fletcher replacement here. I mean, he's been a part of the team all year, but stepping up his role, Fletcher gone, getting the 45 yards and a touchdown. Obviously, the fumble wasn't great, but he finished strong. So shout out to Marty Brown. But with Pringle, I think the other element that he had 2 catches for 32 yards. The more his receiving comes into play, the more effective he's going to get. Because the one weakness you would say, he's a smaller back, pass protection. That first drive, Carson Beck ends up getting sacked in the red zone. Pringle picking up the blitz. He just did a nice job, was tough about it, but he wasn't just the size. He got overwhelmed a little bit. When he has that receiving threat, really hones it, which allows him to be effective on passing downs, he is going to be a very, very dynamic player, which he really might be already. This is the clear, my view, I think everybody's agreeing, running back one of this team right now. He's given an opportunity. He's performed, and I think there's more to it because we haven't even seen those big game-changing long runs, which he's very close to getting. Real quick before we go through the rest of the class of 2025, shout out to the chat. Good morning, Old Baldy. Tyler Cannon says, so many freshmen, man. It's refreshing. FSU can't say the same. That's a fact. The best young players in the state are in South Florida. Florida's got a couple good ones. We'll see what happens when the portal opens up. Salty Ran. Tony just getting better. Frightening. A lot of requests for Tony to play quarterback. Pringle looks absolutely outstanding. Boyo in Hamburg. Moin. Happy Cane fan. Good morning, my friend. So going back to the freshman class, Josh Moore, right? When you looked at the freshman class of receivers, these guys were performing from the beginning in spring. And some guys fell off from spring. It's been well documented. Lyle, Elijah Lofton, who did have a nice catch today after a real tough start to the game for a touchdown. He needed that one. JoJo Trader had the catch from Tony. But those guys, we all know in spring, you thought they'd be centerpieces of the offense, maybe took a step back. But the freshman receivers have been continuing to progress. Tony, we know what happened there. By the time August came around, he was the guy on the team, and then the game started, and we saw what the rest was. Josh Moore, a solid and consistent camp performer. You saw him continuing to add on 2 catches today, 56 yards. Really, really good. Turns to contested catches, back shoulders. Beck had that in his bag in Georgia. That was one of his better throws. If you watch Georgia, of course, Moore with his big body and body control fits that mold. So I think you're seeing that connection and that chemistry continue to develop. He will play a bigger and bigger role as you get down to the end of the season here with the way he is performing. Dalen Upshaw, only 1 catch for 8 yards, but you saw him start the game early, right? Get those early reps with CJ Daniels out. He's going to be a big part of this thing going forward. So another freshman playing a significant amount on offense. You go to the defensive side of the ball with this freshman class. Start with Bryce Fitzgerald. Keontae Scott, best nickel in the country, goes out. Bryce Fitzgerald fills in with his versatility and his athleticism. Still getting more physical, but I saw some flashes of physicality there. Just needs to be more consistent with it, but you saw flashes of it. I was surprised he didn't get that pick. That would have been the 3rd pick for CJ Bailey. Overthrew one, and Bryce had a diving play that he missed, which would have been a great catch. But with him, you kind of expect those. But he's been a key part of the team all year, so put that as a hit in the freshman class. Herbert Scroggins, they call him Third Scroggins, number 35. Man, he has put on significant weight. He came in as a, let's say 6'2-ish, 6'3-ish, long-armed pass rusher, one of the more prolific pass rushers in Georgia history. Really hard worker. You liked all the intangible stuff, and you liked the natural pass rush feel, but you said, is he going to be big enough? Is he going to be fast enough? He's put on weight, He's working out with Akeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain, both in terms of just pushing it in the weight room, pushing it outside. Akeem Mesidor told me that he was taking him swimming and doing stuff like that, yoga, stuff that the veterans know to do. You've seen Akeem Mesidor and the jump he's taking, what an animal he is. Mesidor is taking Scroggins under his wing. Scroggins is doing all the things he needs to do. He's put on weight, so he's added that power dimension. And, man, you watch a second C.J. Bailey interception. First of all, Moten completely destroyed the interior of the offensive line, which is a theme for the game, which we'll get to. But Scroggins just absolutely knocked his man back. Looked like Ruben Bain with some of the knockback. Put him on his butt. Ultimately led to the pressure that C.J. Bailey threw his second pick to Jacoby Thomas. Dante Simpson had a nice tackle and got a lot of reps there on the defensive line. So just up and down, this was a group that played a lot. Jabori Antoine, number 16, he played some real snaps before garbage time. So he's a guy I think you're going to keep an eye on as far as the future of this cornerback room. Luka Gilbert got some snaps as well. And then, of course, when you had the blowout in hand, you saw other guys play. So this was a very, very impressive freshman group. I should mention also CJ Alafatuli had a really nice block on one of the Marty Brown's touchdown, playing fullback, but helping the team win as a true freshman as he gets bigger and more athletic. Gio Kane said, from the first game, D-Money, I was ready to walk out of the lick, and you told me to watch out for Tony. We were dead on about him. Listen, it was easy to see. You watch practice, and again, a lot of people are going to say, well, some of these other guys were balling in practice too. I think spring you take with more, not skepticism, but, it's further away from the season. Usually the guys that are dominating in August camp, those are the guys that are going to contribute on the field, and Tony was absolutely dominant. Let's see here. What other freshmen do I want to get to? But yeah, overall, I just think that the true freshmen were outstanding. And really, to me, that class of 2025, you're going to get Hayden Lowe back in that mix, continue to develop some of the offensive linemen there in that class, defensive linemen, linebackers. There's a lot of guys. Chris Ewald's a guy that's been hurt. I thought he was going to have a much more of an impact as a freshman with the way the amount of snaps he played in camp, and he's been banged up. He's going to be a factor. This is just a really rock solid freshman class, well evaluated. Can't wait to get Hayden Lowe in that mix, because that defensive line, which I'm about to get to, is absolutely insane. Listen, weekend warriors, guys getting ready to play basketball, do something, flag football, you name it. If you're an athlete or consider yourself an athlete or just an active person, you know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with an injury. Don't try to hack your own rehab rush too early. Don't compromise your movement or performance. Call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether it's elite competition with the University of Miami Athletics or just everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com. See some comments here. Phil said Malley will leave a bigger legend than Duke, special player. A lot of love for Duke. A lot of love for all the Hall of Famers, but Duke, that was pretty awesome. He got a big pop, and then Rick, man, he got a huge pop, and he was crying. You could see him getting emotional when he got that pop. So that was really, really cool to see. Some discussions about big running backs versus small running backs. I mean, you need different types. You do not want, even though Pringle is a true running back, you don't want him to carry the load and get injured. Running backs get injured, big and small. Fletcher's out. Isaac Brown's out for Louisville. I mean, these guys, big and small, get injured, but smaller guys certainly are more liable to get banged up. You saw Desmond Reed for Pittsburgh. He's been really getting banged up, a key guy for their operation. So you want to let those guys be as effective as possible. I think the dream is you get a Pringle, Fletcher back healthy, and then Marty Brown kind of being that all-purpose cleanup guy who can catch, who can block, who can run short yardage. And now I think you got something cooking. But Pringle certainly is that needed element. You hope Jordan Lyle was going to be that. Didn't happen. But the speed and explosiveness of Gerard Pringle was huge. Damian saying, yeah, Bryce Sherrill played the entire game. No question about it. He's a key part of this team. More made plays. Yep. Tyler said, I'm not ready to accept that we may have missed on Lofton. Man, that was ugly in that first half. That catch was a good confidence builder. Hopefully he can get it going. You heard Cristobal talking about him, the injuries that he's dealt with. I want to see it play more physical. I know his shoulder's bugging him, which is maybe why his physicality has dropped off from last year. But this is a guy that Cristobal said would be the bbest linebacker on the team if he tried. And you don't see that on the field with the physicality he's playing with. Just doesn't look confident, just doesn't look forceful. It doesn't look right. Some of that's injury, some of that's conditioning, but I think I want to see that physicality come back. Good to see him get that confidence going though later. Yeah, nice to see Nykar make a couple catches. I agree. Coach Jenko, what's up? The offense injected some cafecito into their veins, and you want to get the absolute best cafecito for the breakfast, or maybe you want to go to the catering menu and get something for your big event. Islas Canarias Cuban Express. You already know the number one Cuban restaurant on the planet, right there in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion. You get the full menu. We've gone through it all these months on this show. You know what's on there. All the classics plus a new twist. But what's interesting to me, by the way, first of all, brisket croqueta on the menu as well. So don't forget about the brisket croqueta partnership with Apocalypse Barbecue. Really, really cool thing they got going on. Different kind of croqueta. Always trying to give you the progressive kind of new stuff with all the classic stuff. But this is the big one to me, catering. You got parties coming up, whether it's birthday parties, Thanksgiving parties, Christmas parties, whatever holiday you celebrate, you're going to get a lot of people together. You want to have them fed. Islas Canarias takes care of your catering needs. Islas Canarias Cuban Express. Get what you need with the number one Cuban restaurant on the planet. Thank you for the setup, Jenko. And Milan says he was the first one. He said, I've been watching Pringle in Tampa when he was in Armwood. I remember seeing schools like Georgia, Bama, Oregon at his games late into the season. I knew Youngin was going to be good. Yeah. Shout out to the Pringle family, man. I was hanging out with them during camp. Really, really good people. Happy to see them and their son and the whole family have success. I know one of their other sons is at True North, up and coming receiver. So shout out to the Pringle family. And by the way, shout out to Ceci Esteban, the whole cheerleading crew. My daughter Sammy, she was able to run on the field with a lot of other young girls, young Canes fans, and be cheerleaders for a day. Really cool event. If you saw that at halftime, I know a lot of people probably had their daughters or their nieces or granddaughters or whoever participating in that. So that was really, really cool. Thank you to Ceci Esteban and the whole team with Miami Hurricanes cheer. I know the girls were really, really excited about all that. Good morning, everybody. Appreciate you joining us here. Clint Beasy saying, smash that like button like Pringle smashed those gaps, man. Yeah, he was hitting it hard. Baby Lagoon, appreciate the good luck and the good vibes. Yeah, good vibes here. You can tell people are fired up here in the chat. It's nice to see a complete performance, man. Coach Shenko says I might go down and get some of those brisket croquetas. Made ribs for the tailgate yesterday. Yeah, always cool stuff going on there. Shifting gears, I want to talk about Carson Beck. And I thought Carson Beck, from what I could see, just watching the game on the replay, watching it live, this was his best performance of the season. Notre Dame, when you consider the competition and the fact that he was coming back from injury, outstanding. The USF game, really, really good, but he did have those 2 picks. 4 quarters, I thought this was his best performance. FSU's another good one, but maybe front-loaded, right? Didn't play as well in the 4th. You look at this game, he was good the entire game, 21 to 27, 291 yards, 10.8 yards per attempt, 3 touchdowns. Just a really, really clean performance, man. And with Beck, you see why. And again, I said this on one of the other shows. I've been talking to people. I'm not Adam Schefter, but I know people that do work in the NFL, and there's a lot more love for Beck in the NFL, I think, that people think. Now, is he going to be first round pick, first overall pick like he was projected for a while? No, I don't think that's going to happen. But I think this is a guy, you look at potentially day 2, seeing how he does in the offseason. Who knows how high he can climb there. He, especially with a bad quarterback class, he is a guy that the NFL views as someone who can eventually start games in the NFL, which, as we know, in Miami, we haven't really had a quarterback like that until Cam Ward for 35 years. So the physical skill set remains very impressive. His release, just watching that game yesterday, man, his release is so quick. It is unbelievable. That's one of his best attributes, is one of the best releases to me in the country. But he was decisive. He was seeing the field. He was spreading the ball. Shout out to Keelan Marion as well, a veteran that continues to perform at a high level. Keelan Marion, everybody always focuses on, hey, he's not this, he's not that. What he is a really, really solid receiver and a very consistent performer for the Miami team. 7 catches against State for 96 yards. But Beck, spread the ball. He had a beautiful touchdown to Lofton. I mean, that was an incredible play by Beck. Tony, we know he was looking for him. His best play might have been that all-out blitz where he hit Tony that got called back for the illegal shift. But he hits Tony. He hits more. Upshot caught a pass again. Lofton with the big pass. Keelan Marion continuing to get fed. Still don't see that chemistry with JoJo building. Yeah, you would like to see some more there because of the downfield element that JoJo provides. But overall, I mean, Beck was dealing, seeing the field very well. You saw him make a nice play off script, which you don't want him to necessarily live doing, but you saw a nice off script pass to Keelan Marion where he was able to step up and find him for a big third down conversion. Just overall, man, he's a good player. I think just at the end of the day, Beck, he has his faults. He's not perfect. We could say all the things about Carson Beck that you want to say. This guy's got 10,395 career passing yards, over 76 career passing touchdowns. He is, as of now, 32-5 as a starter. Obviously, you'd like to see that continue to go up, but he's a good player, man. I think you just got to give him the ball and live with the results. Is he going to be perfect? No. Obviously, Louisville, we saw what happened there at the end of SMU, a game he was otherwise playing great. You saw what happened. Yeah, Damian says, well, a quick game got him rolling early. He's definitely a rhythm passer. He's one of the guys that the more time he gets, not necessarily the better he plays. When he's getting rid of it quick is when he's really operating. But he's a good player, man. And I think you just have to give him the ball and let him do his thing. And that's what you saw in this game. I think it's what you're going to see going forward because some of it's necessity, but also that's what you need. Johnny Lagoon says, am I crazy for still wanting CJ Bailey next year? No, I don't think so. I mean, not a good day for CJ Bailey. Some bad decisions under pressure. Had the pick six, obviously, which was the key play of the game. Also, when he was getting crushed by Moten and Scroggins, threw a bad pass that Jacoby Thomas snatched for his second INT. By the way, shout out to Jacoby Thomas, man. You're talking about all-conference type player. But with Bailey, he was getting absolutely pulverized, man. This defensive line for the Miami Hurricanes was just on fire, dominant in this ball game. It was one of the best performances I've seen from our front all year, and clearly caused a lot of problems for CJ Bailey. Every time he dropped back, he was getting absolutely obliterated. I think CJ Bailey's certainly going to be begging to go to Miami when he sees the protection that Carson Beck has versus what he had at NC State in this game. Again, bad game, 120 yards passing, 17 of 30, 4.0 yards per pass, 2 picks, had a rushing touchdown late in the game in garbage time, but you really didn't do much, 6 carries, 11 yards. So, yeah, look, was it like an incredible audition for CJ Bailey? No. I think you have to project some of this stuff behind our offensive line and our pass protection. I think he's the kind of guy that, some guys like Carson Beck, every quarterback is good with protection. I think some quarterbacks are great when they can hold the ball. Cam Ward being a guy that you want him holding the ball. The longer he's holding it, the better you feel about a big play happening. Whereas Carson Beck, the longer he holds the ball, the more nervous you get because that's just not his game. I think CJ Bailey is not Cam Ward, but he's more in the Cam Ward family as far as a guy that will the more he holds the ball, the better he's going to play. But look, there's going to be multiple options in the portal. I do think CJ Bailey remains a real option here, even with this game. I think this game was about Miami's defensive line just absolutely obliterating NC State's offensive line. NC State's interior offensive line is terrible. I don't know how both of the running backs had over 6 yards per carry going in, but a lot of it was Miami making them look bad. You look at, I mentioned Ahmad Moden and Scroggins demolishing the guys that they were facing on that second pick. David Blay was out. These defensive tackles did a tremendous job. Smothers and Scott were averaging over 6 yards heading into this game. But then you look at the rushing, 23 total rushing yards, 20 rushing attempts, 1.2 yards per rush. I mean, it was dominant up front with Blay out. The defensive tackles did spectacular. I mentioned Moten. Justin Scott continues to emerge. Look at that class of 2024, which is a top 5 class. There were a lot of misses in that class, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, it looks like. But when you look at the defensive side, those guys are really, really performing. Marquise Lightfoot had a big tackle for loss, blew somebody up, was very active. He's so fast as outside linebacker, whatever you want to call his position, because he is just all over the field, chasing stuff down, and then having the big tackle for loss with an explosive tackle. Armando Blunt, I think the key you want with Armando Blunt to focus on is that he played most of the game, not all the game, at defensive tackle, which I think is his future home. I think next year, really the rest of this year, I think just now, then, forever, he will be a defensive tackle. That's where his home is. That's where his best position is. He's only, what, 19, 18, 19 years old. So he's still a young buck, but he's going to get bigger and stronger. He's very potent rushing inside. I think his athleticism plays much more inside than it does outside, where that his advantage athletically is not as strong. Inside, certainly, he has power as a guy who was a state placer as a freshman in the shot put. So he has that power to him. He's going to get bigger and stronger as he gets older. He chases plays down, has great speed. You saw him run a couple plays down. He is a really active player back there. I think he's going to be a very, very good defensive tackle, along with the aforementioned Justin Scott, who's really, really emerging. Dante Simpson, we talked about, played a lot, made a nice play. Scroggins, Messidor is absolutely unreal. Him and Boehner are the two best defensive ends in the ACC, hands down. Best defensive end combination, I would say, in the country. So you know what they can do. But I thought the defensive tackles without Blay, that was my story of the game here. Run defense continues to be dominant. You looked at how good Jeremiah Love and those Notre Dame running backs looked against Pitt and how they looked all year. Then you look at how they did against Miami, where they really did nothing. It shows you this run defense is for real. Last night was just a really, really strong performance by that run defense, which, again, has been pretty solid all year. Even SMU, you lose that game, they dominated that that run game. I think they had like 0.9 yards per carry going into the overtime. So they got after it. Probably the only down game they had in terms of run defense was Louisville, when Isaac Brown just caught him napping early. I think a lot of that was great play calling, number one, by Braum, who came back to earth against a non-Miami opponent. What else is new? But also, I think we were just a little rustier in that Louisville game, coming out that 2-bye situation. Now you see everybody flying to the football, tackling. That run defense already was pretty high end and is going to, I think, another level as you head into Virginia Tech, a team that actually pretty good running the ball. So that's something to keep an eye on as we get to the game against Virginia Tech, and we'll break that whole thing down. Some other notes I had, Malachi Tony, like on top of all the other stuff he did, watch his block. Pringle had an 18-yard run in the third quarter, which is a really nice run. Watch Tony's block on that play. He's driving that defensive back about 10 yards. Just pure heart and lower body strength. Yeah, man, feeling good. I'm feeling great about the performance, about the team, about, I don't know, everything. I might just go home. Well, I am home, but I might just go out and on the front porch, pop open a nice BUZZN, and just enjoy this beautiful day. That's BUZZN Drink, BUZZN.com. BUZZN, 7.5 milligrams of real THC, infused seltzer, all hang, no hangover. You want to be on a stream starting at 7 a.m. in the morning, you need BUZZN instead of something that's going to give you that nasty hangover. But yeah, BUZZN, all hang, no hangover, all bubbles, no troubles. Like I said, 7.5 milligrams, real THC infused seltzer, all the fruit flavors. Choose your chill. That's drinkbuzzn.com, or you can go to Big Daddy's Liquors, all those liquor stores across the country, and grab yourself a BUZZN. That is BUZZN, drinkbuzzn.com. But I'm not saying BUZZN in the morning. Not for me this morning, actually, because I got youth sports all day, so I'll be driving around. So no BUZZN for me this morning. But you could. It's a beautiful day. Instead of cracking a cold one or a Bloody Mary, do something a little lighter. But yeah, man, day is perfect today. Yeah, post-game Pete, shout out. If you didn't see post-game Pete right after the game, he was going ham. He hates Manny Diaz, man. He hates Manny Diaz. Let's see. Sean says we're going to have 3 tables of the drafts, Messidor, CC, and Bain. I think Messidor, what's working against him, like in that tier, is probably going to be his age. He's already 25, 26, and injury history. So I think that's going to hurt him when it comes to playing in that first round category. But day 2 and just pure film, like if you look at the film, forget the injuries and the age, I think you would say first round. It's up to six sacks. Lord knows how many tackles for loss. Just kicking butt every week. But I think that's going to drop him down a little bit, but still going to be I would say, maybe second round, third round player, and very good. Jacoby Thomas, yeah, we talked about him. He is playing at a phenomenal level. I don't know what his NFL stock is, because he's NFL safeties, typically they'll like a rangier guy there. he's more of that box safety, but he's a total playmaker. Just a great cane, man. This is a guy that I think all ACC first team for sure for Keelan Marion, or sorry, for Jacoby Thomas. And sorry, I was looking at my notes. I think he's first team all ACC, 100% for Jacoby Thomas. He really is been outstanding for us. Spencer, is there any concerns with the linebacker depth next season? Yeah, I think so, but I think they'll get the portal going there too. Plus, we got some young players that are coming up. You saw Kellen Wiley's a little banged up, but you saw him get some playing time. Canes Fred, yeah, great to see you. Yeah, walking to the game. NC State defense is bad, man. Yeah, that was just what the doctor ordered, man. Great seeing you. By the way, everybody that said what's up. Great seeing everybody. I know sometimes I'm running on an aisle this way. People are running in, so I just do the quick pound to go Canes. But again, appreciate everybody that I met. Said what's up to. It was an awesome day. Over 1,000 on. Remember to like and subscribe to the show. Got a lot more coming this week, man. It's gonna be a fun week. Enjoying the victory. Watch the replay. Continue to support the Canes. Got Duffy's next Saturday. It'll be a watch party for the Virginia Tech game. We'll see you guys out there, but we'll be doing a lot before then. Go Canes. Oh, by the way, Miami Hurricane Team Store. I talked to a lot of people that got a lot of cool gear there. Shout out to Harry Rothwell. Mr. Canes legend. Let me pull up this post, man. My man, Mr. Canes legend. Iconic right here. Here, if you want to know how plugged in Miami Hurricane Team Stores and Harry Rothwell is, Twitter's name is Mr. Canes Legend. And there you see him out there in the VIP with all the VIPs. Shout out to Harry Rothwell and Miami Hurricane Team Store. Head out there for your official Canes gear, MiamiHTS.com online or in person next to Thesis Hotel. Promo code INSIDE20. All right, now I'm saying it for real. See you guys later. Enjoy your Sunday. Go Canes.